Daniel Levy has today stepped down from his role as executive chairman after nearly 25 years.
Anyone who remembers what the club was like when he took it over at the turn of the century will know that Spurs were living from hand to mouth. They were bringing in veterans and bargain bin players. And all right, it's taken 25 years, if you like, but he has utterly transformed not just the reality, but I think the prospects of the football club as well.
Look, it's a tough one because he's done so many good things for the football club in terms of commercially where he's put the football club. You know, the stadium's unbelievable. He's made it a rich football club.
Man, what have we waited for? What have we waited for? You know, the day has come. This man has tortured our football club. And we've got to the stage where this man, honestly, I'd never even imagined that this man would walk away, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to get that, absolutely, I couldn't agree more. We are poised for an incredible position, and that is down to the work that Levy has done in that club.
So that was the reaction to the news that Daniel Levy has left Tottenham after nearly 25 years as the chairman. And I think actually what was interesting that previously when we heard from Jamie O'Hara saying about, yes, they've made Tottenham, Daniel Levy's been part of this incredible sort of rise in seeing Tottenham become a profitable football club and a great sort of business because of the new stadium and all that brings as well. Not just football. Obviously, we know NFL matches are staged there, concerts are staged there, plenty more boxing too, and I'm sure lots of corporate events within it as well. So it makes a lot of money. But as Jamie said there, Cass, the fans aren't there to support the business. They're supporting the football team. And those fans, especially in the sort of last sort of 5 years or so, are probably thinking, we haven't really seen that profit that everyone talks about, this wonderful business that we love, that as in Daniel Levy has implored is so brilliant. We haven't really seen that go into the team.
Yeah, it's a weird one because if you put the infrastructure of the club and you go from the training ground to the ground and the revenue that's been generated by Tottenham as a club, it is at the very top end. They've been a driving force and everything's in place to be successful. But fans only care about, and most of us understand that it's got to be all in place for you to be successful, but that hasn't happened. The success hasn't, if you take since he's been in the job, since 2001, the amount of years and who won the Premier League and the amount of teams like City, Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool have won title, Arsenal, from that time, Tottenham haven't won a title. In that time, we've had Leicester win the Premier League. So, and you could also make an argument, were they a top six club? Actually, a top six club. With all what they've created, they've become that, but not in the trophy sense. Because you could even argue that, Newcastle have won a trophy, okay. Villa, a big club that you'd like to think that could compete. Everton have been away from that, team that they were in the 80s. But they were more of a top 10 club back in 2001. So they've become a top six, but a top six club only because of the infrastructure of Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, when you saw the statement that was put out, it said that Daniel Levy had been part of a club that have, in the last 20 seasons, been competing in 18 of those in Europe, which goes to show the progression that has been made. And you're right to point out, in 2001, as Danny Kelly had also mentioned in that clip that we brought you not that long ago, he said, when they took over, we were a club that was tended to bring in the, let's say, veterans, like he said, those players perhaps that are coming to the end of their careers who just wanted a final swan song and weren't really doing much in the Premier League. So when Daniel Levy and Enoch and everything else that came in with Joe Lewis, they did improve the team, clearly, because now we talk about them as part of the Big Six, even though last year, not so great. The problem is, as I say, that investment that it feels got them to be a Big Six club has sort of stagnated, I would say, in the last 5 or 6 years. And that's where the frustration, I think, comes from for the Spurs fans.
Their vision was to achieve what they've done with the training ground and the club itself. The new stadium is incredible. Yeah. It is the best stadium in England, without a doubt. Okay? But with that, I would say, well, I was at Chelsea in 92 to 94. If you'd have said to me Chelsea would have been a top 6 club in 2001 and beyond, as we are today, Chelsea's as they rose with what they won in trophies, and yes, the Abramovich money, but even towards the end of Ken Bates' era at Chelsea, they started to win trophies. They won a European trophy at that particular time. So Chelsea has become a top 6 club, which in my day would have been a mid-table team. You know, that's what they were. There was Everton, as I said, clubs like Villa and others that would have been in front of Chelsea.
Well, we know with Kevin Keegan, Newcastle were pushing for the title.
So, look, it's quite clearly that the vision, what they wanted to achieve, was also success on the pitch, which hasn't happened regularly enough.
Yeah.
It just hasn't.
And I think on paper, Daniel Levy has done what he's supposed to have done from a business sense. You know, he has massive ticks for making sure that he's left Tottenham in a good position financially.
Yeah.
Now it's all about what's next for Tottenham. Now, the interesting thing is we had a little clip there from a fan who was sort of saying, oh, this is the start of something new and potentially more investment, etc., etc. Well, ENIC aren't going anywhere, it feels right now. Could be wrong. You never know what's on the horizon, of course. But even today in the Daily Telegraph, they're saying that potentially what's going to be happening is that more than £100 million is scheduled to be pumped into the club to help press ahead with ENIC's desire to make sure Spurs can be competitive on all fronts. So obviously the Telegraph have their insider there. That's Matt Law, by the way, who believes that ENIC are clearly staying around for the present, let's say. But 100 million doesn't get you much these days, unfortunately. As much as it sounds great, and we'd all have 100 million in a bank, of course we would. But as we've just seen what happens with the transfer window, that can just be on one player, for example.
Absolutely. Do you know what amazes me? And when you read the papers and you realise how many people are involved at the high end of a football club at the top level, is that, you know, you've got Daniel Levy, his wife stepped down as well. She was working at the football club, wasn't she, as an advisor? And you then go through all the names and the people involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of the Lewises on board.
Absolutely. It's just, there's one job after another of someone in importance. So Daniel has been obviously batting a few of them off in recent years, but it's got to a place where finally it's come to, well, now it's on the pitch. Is Daniel the right man to deliver and appoint the right managers and the investment to make this club successful on the pitch? So that's what it's all about now for me.
It like I say, it doesn't feel, from what the Telegraph are suggesting, that the ENIC are going anywhere anytime soon. Doesn't mean that they aren't looking for further investment, because they could still be very much involved and own Tottenham. But as we've seen, like with my club, for example, we've just had new investors putting in 400 million into the club, for example. And let's not forget, Daniel Levy still has an ownership as well of Tottenham. I think 28% or something. So, you know, he's still very much involved in the club. It's just the day-to-day running, I guess, he's not going to be involved in. Are you in any way, very quickly, surprised, though, by the timing of this?
I think everyone was shocked.
Yeah.
When I heard it, I think even the die-hard Tottenham fan would have not seen this coming.
Yes, but more so in terms of, I mean, I've been discussing this with friends, and I was saying, well, you'd have thought in some ways, if you're going to be making that decision to stand down, you might do it after the Europa League final because you're going out on a high. And then a friend of mine countered it by saying, well, maybe they just thought, let him get through the transfer window and let's see how he performs.
What's the point of a new manager?
Well, exactly. But let's also see how he performs in that window. And then the transition can begin after that. Do you think he has gone of his own accord? Or
no, he's been in my opinion, he's been pushed. I think it's quite clear. And yes, he still has an interest in the football club. But within that, if you see how it's happened so suddenly and then see the people involved, you know, that because he's got his sons, hasn't he, as well? He's got a son that works for Spurs as well.
Yes,
but they keep their
part of the ownership.
They're still there. They keep their jobs. There's a few involved. Look, I don't think anyone would have saw this coming. Nat, Tottenham are a club. If they got success on the field, you know, the growth of what they've happened in just revenue and as a football club, there is a lot more wiggle room in Tottenham. If they imagine what the club would be like if they got success and won league titles or competed again. I know they've been in the Champions League final, but if they could achieve what some of the clubs around them, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, City, Liverpool,
yeah,
that's a huge football club.
Well, that's what the fans want to hear, and that's what the fans want to see as well. And within that statement, they did say that all of those appointments that have been made over the last few months, whether it's the new CEO, Thomas Frank, Martin Ho, who is the women's head coach, and now Peter Charrington, who's now the non-executive chairman, have all been put in place to ensure, they hope, that they will bring success to the club.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.